Hey guys, this is a cellular signaling project on caffeine by Annabelle Shan Maria Superviola. Cell communication. The signals cells receive from other cells in the environment, how they reinterpret the signals through responsiveness, or similar sets of cell signaling showing unity and diversity. There are two types of cell signaling, local and long-distance cell signaling. In local signaling, animal cells communicate through gap junctions and plants plasmodisks.
We will cover long-distance cell signaling. The first step is endocrine signaling, during which specialized cells release hormones through the circulatory system where target cells recognize and respond to the hormones. Similarly, plant hormones sometimes travel in vessels to reach target cells, but more often, they reach their target cells by moving through cells or as a gas traveling through the topic a little bit. In this video, we will talk about the three stages of cell communication: reception, transduction, and response.
Signaling molecules release signals that only certain receptors can catch. The ligand has a complementary shape with a specific site on the receptor. This allows for attachment to each other. Ligand binding leads to direct activation of the receptor or aggregation of two or more receptors, which both lead to cell interaction. There are three major types of cell surface transmembrane receptors: G-protein coupled receptors, receptor tyrosine kinases, and ion channel receptors. There are also intracellular receptors located in the cytoplasm and nucleus. But caffeine binds to adenosine receptors, which are part of the G-protein receptor family. Caffeine is not an activator.
Now we're going to talk about the signal transduction pathway, which takes place during the second stage of cell signaling, transduction, after the signal molecule modifies the receptor. Signal transduction is a linkage of mechanical, chemical, or electromagnetic stimulus that lead to a specific cellular response. The signal transduction pathway is the series of steps during which this occurs. The signal transduction pathway works like a domino effect. One signal-activated molecule activates another molecule, which then activates another, and so on until the final response occurs. And of course, the relay molecules that relay a signal from receptor to response are usually protein kinases, which means that they will transfer ATP to a protein to activate it. This creates phosphorylation cascades, the chemical reactions in which kinase phosphorylates and activates another kinase, which does the same to another, leading up to the phosphorylation of many more proteins with the help of protein phosphatases. The response is when and how the cell interprets the signal transmitted, which is usually the stopping or the beginning of the synthesis of a protein or the regulation of a protein's activities. In the case of protein synthesis, the last protein activated in the transduction pathway would function as a transcription factor, which would turn specific genes on or off in the nucleus. Sometimes the pathway will not signal the synthesis of the protein, as we covered, but rather regulate its activities. This only affects proteins outside the nucleus, such as gated ion channels. Another topic we should cover is how cell signaling is specific. Different cells have different collections of proteins, and therefore need certain signal receptors and relay molecules to carry out a specific function, or they react differently to certain signal molecules.
Before caffeine blocks adenosine receptors, this prevents it from triggering signal transduction pathways that lead to drowsiness and reduced mental activity.
The only treatment to stop or minimize the effects of caffeine in cells is to stop drinking too much caffeinated drinks or caffeinated foods, taking a walk and deep breaths, especially if due to the caffeine a person is suffering from anxiety.
Excessive caffeine can lead to negative effects, and do not drink it unless you need to.